All right, hey there. This is your instructor James coming to you from my Fortress of Solitude here on Old Norcross Road in Lawrenceville, Georgia. This is my study at the church, New Hope Christian Church, where I have had the privilege of serving coming up on 18 years this August, and it has been a joy. And another of the joys of my life is teaching at my alma mater, Point University, and I'm so glad that you are along for the journey. I want to do a short video. I promised this a couple of days ago, but I've been under the weather since late Wednesday night, and I've been trying to keep up with you guys on the forums. By the way, thank you, everyone, for participating in the Introduce Yourself forum. Be sure to do that by tomorrow. That counts for your attendance for getting started week. And also, that 5 points may come in handy down the road. You never know. But the really important thing is to respond and respond to one another so that we can form some online community best we can in the online setting. All right. So I don't want to take a lot of time, but I promised a video on the final project as well as video on uh, the other written assignments, the bigger written assignments. And there's a very helpful PDF available, and it is linked in each of the written assignments on Canvas. I pulled it up on the screen for you here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you do have your first written assignment, 500 words in length. A couple of you have already submitted it. Um, but for week one, write a paper summarizing what you believe is the essence of Jesus' mission in the Gospels. And all we're asking you to do at this point is to draw from your prior knowledge of the text of the scriptures and your own experiences. But make sure that your thoughts are well reasoned and consider the evidence of the New Testament. When appropriate, mention specific texts that support your assessment. And this one be, and I think I mentioned in an earlier video, I'm a stickler for word counts, 500 words in length. I'll be looking at the grammar, and this has a rubric with it, so there'll be a grading rubric there that I'll be filling out in addition to making comments in your submission if they need be made. And I do like to have a little bit of fun with you as well in your papers. All right. So you've got this first journal entry for week one. I've noticed in the past when I've taught this class that sometimes there is a very small number right here that some of my students don't see when they go to write their second journal entry. And what we're doing is at the end of the class in week 7, you're going to write another journal entry. But that little one right there has tripped up more than one student on the way to successfully completing Journal 2. This is a 1,500 word. So that's just to go ahead and let you know. 500, 1,500, okay? So I wanted to go ahead and get that out there, and maybe you can get that ingrained, and we can all be happy when it comes time for that. You've also got the instructions here for your Luke's Gospel of Luke summary paper, which is coming up in week 4. I'm going to do an overview video each week on Mondays, which will give me an opportunity to go over these other assignments. And of course, you're going to be reading Philip Yancey's response. You're going to be reading Philip Yancey's The Jesus I Never Knew, and you're going to be responding to it, and that'll be in week 6. Now, one of the things about this book, if you haven't seen my announcement on The Jesus I Never Knew, please take the time to read that announcement. Philip Yancey, unfortunately, breaking my heart. But lifting him up in prayer, and his wife as well. There was marital infidelity on his part, and Dr. Holly Carey and I uh, discussed the appropriateness of the book for the course. It was in this course. She and I were classmates at Point University way back in the Stone Ages, and we read this book. And actually, the two textbooks that you have are the two textbooks that we had in I think the class was called "The Life of Jesus Christ," back then taught by Dr. Barry Blackburn. And we read this book, and at the time it was a brand new book. It was 98, 99, something like that, 1998, 99. Um, and it's really a wonderful book. And we thought that the fruit of the book is worth it. We don't want to ignore what has happened recently in Yancey's life, but we really do believe that the fruit of the book is still going to be there. So if you haven't checked out that announcement, please do. And I think I mentioned something about it in the welcome video too, that I did a couple of days ago. So all of this is here for you on this one document. This is a great document for you to become very, very familiar with. All right. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about tonight is your parable recreation. Now, this assignment is one that you really need to go ahead and get started thinking about what it is you're going to do. And I want you to notice something here. And I'm going to go over it here. And this won't be the only time, but I want to go over it here. Notice this right here on the module here for it. Week 7, day 2. That's Tuesday. Okay, day 2. And the reason for that is the same reason we ask you to make sure your written responses to the discussion topics are in by Friday. So you're going to give your classmates time to interact with you, and you'll be able to interact with them on their parables because there's a forum there's a discussion topic forum. That's it. So what I want to do now is just click on another very important document for you. All right. And my Adobe Acrobat does not like my downloads in Google Chrome, but we will move on. Okay. What we're going to be asking you to do is choose a parable, and you're going to be learning what those are if you don't already know. A parable from one of the Gospels in the first week of class. All right. Parables are some of the most dynamic and memorable teachings of Jesus that have been passed down to us. All right. We've given you an assigned date, week 7. You're going to either do a video and submit it to YouTube, right? And then send me the link, right? Or you can take the boring route. That's what I call it. You can do a PowerPoint presentation. Now, some people excel, if you'll pardon the pun, excel at PowerPoint. All right, and make it very interesting. So you can either do a video, and I've had some very entertaining videos, parable recreations, very entertaining and thought provoking. You can either do that, or you can submit a PowerPoint presentation. And here's 2 things that they have to include: a creative retelling of the parable, and then pardon me, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know I've been, that's like my doctor's note. Excuse me. A creative retelling of the parable and their reflections on its meaning. Your reflections on its meaning and significance to both Jesus's original audience, the early Christians, and then in our contemporary context. Now, if you've never uploaded a video to YouTube before, we have a link in the form for you right here. It will show you exactly how to do it. It is very easy, and I assume most of you have done this, okay? Now, right here, here are the requirements, okay? It needs to be an original retelling of the parable. Now, I'm going to give you an example. This is the one example that I've used throughout the years. The Good Samaritan. We call this parable the parable of the Good Samaritan. And in that story, Jesus is having a conversation with a legal expert. And the legal expert asks Jesus, what's the command? What are the most important commands? And he says, well, that's easy. Said, love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, your strength, and love. And the second, there's 2. The second is like it. You love your neighbor as yourself. So this legal expert then asked Jesus, yes, but who is my neighbor? And then Jesus tells a story about a man. We assume he's Jewish, but it's not really important to the context of the story. A man traveling down the Jericho road is jumped by robbers. He is beaten and left for dead on the side of the road. A priest comes by, a Jewish priest comes by, passes him by. A rabbi comes by, same thing, just doesn't pay any attention to him. But then a Samaritan stops and shows reckless, lavish, abundant, over the top care for this individual. And following that story, Jesus looks at the legal expert and says, which of the three acted like a neighbor to the man in the ditch? And, under his breath, he probably said the Samaritan. And he says, go and do likewise. Now, Samaritan doesn't have that ring for you and for me. Um, but there may be contemporary people groups um, that may have that kind of ring in our world, something that would be more pertinent to, because you want to retell it, all right, not a summary, but retell it in a way. See, Jesus took the everyday things in his world, and he told stories that people uh, could relate to, but then there was always I always call it the hammer dropping at the end. So there are a lot of these parables in the Gospels, and I'm going to put a list up on Monday of parables. Okay. Now, what we don't want is for you to turn in the work of somebody else. No videos found on YouTube. A creative retelling should update the parable, as I was just speaking, for a modern audience. That'll communicate the point of the parable and do it in such a way that a more contemporary audience would understand and relate to it. Again, it must be either a video or a PowerPoint. Your video needs to be at least 6 to 8 minutes long. Your PowerPoint presentation has to have at least 10 slides. And then it must end with honest reflections on the meaning of the parable, its personal impact, and its impact on our understanding of Jesus, both from first century viewers as well as contemporary ones, and so forth and so on. But this is the big one down here. Be creative and have fun. This can be a fun project if you don't leave it till the very end. Okay? So I'm going to get that list of parables up to you. I'm going to give you 2 weeks instead of just one to get your parable of choice into me. Yes, we can have more than one person doing the same parable, um, but I really don't want however many students there are here, everybody does the Good Samaritan. There are so many different parables. And again, I'll supply you with that list. And then all you got to do is either email me at james.shelton@point.edu, or you can message me here on Canvas. And all you got to do is just let me know which one you're going to do. If you have any questions, let me know. And you're going to find the parables in the Gospels. Okay, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right. This video is already a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. And since I'm feeling another urge to cough, um, just want to tell you again, thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you. Be sure to finish up your getting started week, your introduce yourself, and start to get into the meat of the course. And I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Know of my prayers for you, and I'm here for you. Let me know how I can help. And I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you here online again very soon. Blessings to you and your family.